We're about to dive into today's Cowboys mailbag, but if you haven't already, I'd like you guys to subscribe. We're going to keep you covered on everything going on this offseason for the Dallas Cowboys. Contract talks, coaching changes, rumors, news, draft, free agency, all of it. If you want to stay up to date, hit that big red button and subscribe today. First up from Taggart, do we trade back twice in the first round? Once to get a haul from a team like Atlanta or Denver, then trading back again to the late first to get a second haul by trading with the Jets. I am open to that idea. And it gets a little bit dicey because you're trading away from better players. But the way I think the draft board will fall is if you miss out on the likes of a Surtain, a Caleb Farley, and maybe a Micah Parsons, the difference between pick number 12 and pick number 23, for example, isn't that much. I think the way that the value will fall, there's going to be a lot more in the back end. So I am open to that idea. In general, you trade down. And I know that the Cowboys trade sheet will say, hey, this is the value assigned. I would rather take less value and still get an extra top 100 pick. I think that is a better path for where this Cowboys team is at. So with that in mind, I say trade down at almost all costs. Richard Frazier, draft a receiver early and then trade Gallup. I've seen a lot of Jamar Chase comments too today. The answer is no, because you have to get better. And I like Jamar Chase. I also like Michael Gallup. If you draft Chase in round 1 and trade Gallup for the 50th overall pick, which is the minimum I would take, you're getting maybe a little bit better at receiver, but more importantly, your defense still sucks. You cannot waste a premium asset in this draft class. You can't go receiver early. Michael Gallup right now, I know his numbers are down because he doesn't have Dak Prescott out there and the O-line is bad and they're not taking shots deep downfield. And Dalton, when Gallup is open, doesn't see him deep downfield for an easy score. The draft cannot focus on receiver. If you want to spend a day 3 pick, okay, sure. Or if there's great value, even in round 3, maybe, but probably not. The draft has to focus on defense. I know we always want to go best player available, but it has to be best player available at a position of need. That's why I was fine with CeeDee Lamb last year, because you needed another receiver. You have to go defense this year because you got major problems on that side of the ball. If worst case scenario, Dak doesn't re-sign, and this is a super chat from Dwayne Jackson, by the way, and Fields and Lawrence and Lance and Wilson are off the board, what quarterback do you take? In this case, I think you would have... I don't see a scenario in which that happens because I think at least Lance or Wilson or Fields would be there. But if you don't re-sign Dak and you've stuck him on the franchise tag again, embrace the tank. I don't want Mac Jones or Kyle Trask. I should have just paid Dak then. If I can't get Dak re-signed and Lawrence and Fields are off the board, I think you have to consider Zach Wilson or Fields if he's on the board there. I wouldn't love Trey Lance as much, but it's fine, I guess. Here's what I'm saying. You got to make your decision this year. And in reality, you should have made it a year and a half ago. Because if you enter this offseason in this draft and you have not signed Dak Prescott, or you don't have a secret deal for Dak Prescott that you can then use to leverage that pick for a bigger trade because you had the deal done, you're trying to trick teams into thinking you might go quarterback, whatever, you got to have a quarterback in place beyond the end of the season. You have to figure that out. You cannot drag your feet at the most important position. Now, Winston kind of also answering a similar question here, asking, I should say. In what scenario would you draft a quarterback in round 1 and trade away Dak? The only way I do that is if I somehow get the number 1 overall pick. If I can get Lawrence with no other draft capital involved, I'll take Lawrence. But beyond that, the only reason I would do it is if Dak comes to me and says, F you, I'm out. I like Fields as a prospect. Wilson is awesome to watch. Lance has potential. But what do we know about draft prospects, guys? The hit rate is about 50%. I get they could be anything. Justin Fields could be Russell Wilson, or it could be a bust. It's more likely he ends up being a bust, guys. Look at the hit rate. I mean, how many quarterbacks in the past 5 or so years would you take over Dak Prescott? Even 6 or 7 years. Maybe Deshaun Watson. Maybe Kyler Murray, but he's kind of took a step back the past couple games. I think you could go Watson and Mahomes, and that's it. Your hit rate of getting a top 10 quarterback from the draft is low. So you can make an argument, hey, you know what? I just want to reset my quarterback position. I don't want to pay Dak. I'm not good enough. I'm going to totally blow it up and rebuild. That's fine. But if you think you can compete, just pay your top 10 quarterback. So get your votes in here. What would you do at the quarterback position? Type 1 for pay Dak. Type 2 for draft a quarterback. There is a chance that one of Fields or Wilson or Lance is better than Dak Prescott. The odds of you picking the right one opposed to Dak, that's not worth the risk for me. I say 1, but you guys get your votes in. From Joseph Martinez, we need a defense, then we need a receiver then we can run the ball, then throw the so long pass, then do some play action, then trick play. Read this, please. Okay, I read it. Marcus, do you see Dallas taking Surtain that early or trade down for more picks? If you can't trade down, which you can trade down, you just might not get the value that you want. I would say they would take a Surtain, a Farley, or a Parsons. They don't know what they're going to do yet. It's way too early for that. I could see Surtain going top 5. The Chargers are kind of in a similar boat where they would love Penei Sewell, and they probably want to trade down too. I just don't know what the Cowboys' path is going to be there. From Evan Dye, should we trade Cooper for more picks? I've been dealing with this on Twitter too, by the way. Y'all got to stop. Amari Cooper's been good for you. He had one bad game when Ben DiNucci was the quarterback. That is the only time Cooper's been bad this year. He's going to go for 1,000 yards, with the majority of them coming from Garrett Gilbert and Andy Dalton. He has not been your problem this year. Don't trade Cooper. I know that long term you might have to choose between Cooper or Gallup. Don't do that. It's not a problem right now. Cooper and Dak work really well together. Cooper's been a legitimate number 1 receiver. He has been your most consistent offensive player this year by a wide margin. Keep him. It's not that hard. Now we're going to do something different on today's show here. I'm going to help you guys out in terms of making some money on BetUS. I got some bets that I have already placed that I feel good about. Here are my $5 bets of the week. All right. First up, Bills straight up against the Steelers. I think they beat Pittsburgh. I'm not on the Steelers train right now. Life is normally too short to bet the under. But when it's Washington and the 49ers and Taysom Hill versus Jalen Hurts, give me the under in both of those games, 43 and 44 respectively. And you know what? Jacksonville's a bad football team, but they keep covering spreads. 7.5 points. For reference, the Jags, 4 of their past 5 losses, 2 points, 4 points, 2 points, and 3 in overtime. They will not win that game, but I think they cover. And finally, my $5 money line reckless parlay of the week. Not that reckless, actually. It's almost a can't-lose parlay. Titans over Jags, Packers over Lions, Bucks over Vikings, Seahawks over the Jets, and Houston over the Mitchell Trubisky-led Chicago Bears. And led is a nice phrase there. So who blows it up? You can let me know in the comments. It's 5 to win almost $19. I think that's a pretty good return on investment right there. If you want to follow my bets, head over to chatsports.com/bet. That will take you right in to the BetUS site. You can use promo code Cowboys125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. So you put down $100, an extra $125 on top of that. It's a fantastic deal. And oh, by the way, if you email us, cowboys@chatsports.com, we'll get you guys a Dak Prescott jersey too. Only available for new BetUS customers. Email us today, cowboys@chatsports.com, if you want in on that deal. Alan Guerrero trade a second and Dak for Mack and a first. I assume you mean Khalil Mack here. The value's not horrible, but then I have to go find a quarterback. So I'm spending my first round pick on the quarterback position. I don't have that much more money to play with in free agency. I can use my other picks to add another corner from the Bears first rounder. I think it's a decent offer by Chicago, But I'm downgrading at quarterback, and I would rather try to gamble on on other draft picks developing and maybe even just keeping Aldon Smith, Randy Gregory instead than trying to go out and trade away my star quarterback. And oh, by the way, I thought you guys only cared about sacks. Khalil Mack's got 6.5 this year. Just keep that in mind. Felipe Garcia, trade back in the draft and sign a cornerback. I co-sign that one. I think it's a fantastic idea. Gabriel Estrada, should we trade down with the Dolphins for all their first-rounders this year and their second-rounder? Depending on where the Houston draft pick ends up being, that still might be top 10 or top 12. I think the value ends up being pretty close. I don't think the Dolphins do that because Miami doesn't need a quarterback. They don't need a corner. They could use a receiver, but they can sit pat and get one there. They're not going to be in Penei Sewell range. I don't know who they would be moving up to go get with the way this draft class is. In reality, if you're trying to trade down, I think you have to trade down with a quarterback-needy team. The rest of the draft class doesn't really fall very well for a team coming up to get somebody other than a quarterback. That's why I want the earliest pick possible to ensure one of Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, or Justin Fields, even three of them, or two of them I should say, are actually on the board when the Cowboys are on the clock. Now, I like trading down because it gets me extra top 75 picks to play with. And those are your impact picks. And I can get a safety in round 2 or round 3. And I'm going to speak this into existence. Producer Brett does not like it that I keep doing this, but I'm going to keep trying. I know I'm setting myself up for failure. I don't care. This is the year the Cowboys get a good safety. Like, this is the year, guys. This is going to be the season that the Cowboys go, you know what? We're going to take care of this. We're going to find a safety on day 2. I'm going to type in my one. Everyone else does in the comments section as well. From Family Kendrick, what could stop us from signing Dak? Are there teams that could outbid us? In terms of this upcoming offseason, no. You have the franchise tag. You don't, if you assign the exclusive tag, Dak is yours. If you let him hit free agency, the answer is yes. Now, we'll look at 2022 for this particular example. The Steelers, Patriots, Bucks, Colts, and Jets, if they move on from their quarterback, Panthers and Broncos have hundreds of million in cap space available. Yes, those teams could outbid you. And not only that, there's the matter of respect. If you keep disrespecting Dak by not giving him what he wants, or at least how Dak feels he should be valued, somebody else will pay him. Somebody else will pay him. So keep that in mind, my friend. There are teams if you let Dak hit free agency. He also says, thanks for the content. I wish I could donate. That's okay, family. Maybe let an ad or two play all the way through. Helps us out at least a little bit.